The following game has no ESRB rating, nor is there any sort of listing for restrictive content found within the game. From what I've seen so far, it does contain space combat, explosions, ships on fire, and what the game considers strong language, although I don't believe that language is considered cursing in modern day civilization terms, but it's still there, and the meaning, I believe, is readily visible, if not overtly listed as such. That being said, if I were to guess as to what its rating would have been, I would say it would most likely have been rated T for teen by the ESRB. So, given that assumption, and again, it is assumption, so of course, viewer discretion is advised, I recommend anyone under the age of 13 not watch the following video. You have been warned.
Greetings and salutations, I am Outlier and I bid you welcome to this channel. Joining me today is of course my usual co-hosts, Snowball and Wolf. And today we're returning back to Starhammer the Vanguard Prophecy. So the premise of Starhammer the Vanguard Prophecy is that you are in charge of a space-based naval strike group, which is essentially a small collection of space warships, and you are tasked with various missions to defend your homeworld from threats both human and, well, alien. So from what I've seen so far, there's essentially two different groups vying to conquer/destroy your homeworld. One is a group of human pirates or rebels which have attacked your navy's warships and other vessels that are attached to the navy, and I guess other civilian shipping vessels. Whereas the alien threat takes the form of a spaced isopod-like alien known as a Nautilid. At least I think squids are isopods. Don't hold me to that. Sea creature biology was never one of my strong suits, although I do like watching fish. But that's a moot point and not important to this game. So basically those are the two enemies that I've come across so far, and the game has a branching storyline path, so various missions that I choose and various decisions that I make on those missions can affect the overarching storyline. For instance, for those who haven't seen in the past couple of episodes, I had one of two options. I could basically go and investigate the rebels to uncover their secrets and find out more about them, which I would assume unlock a large, at least a fair number of missions involving the rebel factions. Or I could defend what I didn't know at the time, but was the one and only starbase or spaceport shipyard. That's the word I'm looking for. The one and only shipyard for your people. I could protect it from the Nautilid. Determining that losing the one and only shipyard was a greater risk than finding out information about the rebels, I opted to defend the shipyard. Yes, there's that too. And for those who haven't seen the last couple of episodes, I had the option to defend both the port and starboard side of the shipyard from various Nautilid forces. 2 episodes ago, I defended the starboard side from the small, fast-moving Nautilid, and last episode I defended the port side from the larger, more powerful, slow-moving Nautilid forces. And after I defended one side, I had the option to basically travel off into the unknown edges of the solar system to fight the Nautilid from what I would assume Navy intelligence thinks is the origin point of the Nautilid attack swarms. But I opted to defend the other side of the shipyard, thinking that if I left the other side undefended, the shipyard would get attacked, and then the higher-ups would yell at my character again, which is kind of what they did in a past episode, or past mission, I should say, when I had the option to continue defending a salvage vessel, or I could move on to secure another wreckage that the rebels had blown up. Now, I'm sure the rebels are still doing their thing. I haven't seen them because I've been fighting the Nautilid, and I don't know after this story arc I go back to fighting the rebels, or I can continue, or I can start the investigation that I had the option of instead of protecting the shipyard. But that's an issue for not right now, as the one and only mission I still have available is to travel off to the edge of the star system to basically attack the Nautilids from what military intelligence believes is their origin point. So that's what I'm going to do, and we'll see what happens. And as such, this game is of course made by... Thank you again. And that being said, let us begin. Alright, so here we are at the what passes for the campaign map. And I do have various articles that I can read. A lot of them are basically the same stuff that has been available for me to read for quite a while. It's the same stuff I looked at last episode, and the episode before that, and the episode, I guess, before that is when it initially they initially were available for reading, or the episode before that. And this is basically the mission path that I took from the start of this chapter to current. So, the current objective is beyond the bowsprit, or bowsprit, where AK, he is our contact with the Admiralty Board. Basically, the Admirals decide missions for the strike group that my character commands. They give it to this AK person, and he sends it to us. So AK pushed a third nav point to my deck. He suspects the origin point of incoming pause is out here somewhere. He's been a bit flaky on the certification, so he can't be entirely sure this objective has been sanctioned by command. Seems like our comment, that's his military position, has some suspicions of his own he'd like investigated. Best to keep that to myself, though. Another patrol group should be on the way to relieve us while we investigate. This nav point is quite a way out from DM2, so we won't be able to turn back quick enough if things go south at the shipyards. Hope the Yardsman's turrets are more effective than they look. I mean, I defended both sides, so unless I have to defend from the aft or the bow, the shipyard should be good, but you never know. So, since this is the only mission, it is listed as neutral, which I believe affects the war scale. I'm not quite exactly certain what the war scale does. I think it affects dialogue options and how characters interact with each other. It's currently set to defensive at 20, which provides a variety of different buffs. Also, my crew has various skills and whether or not they like each other, and apparently, Heaven Jinx isn't very friendly with everybody else. Now, I can change things for standing for various things to make them better friends, or more hostile to each other. Which does affect various buffs and debuffs and how fast the engines work. But currently my crew consists of 3 people: Valorant Dice, the main character and commander of the strike group, Haven Jinx, our gunnery ensign. I believe he controls the weapons and who they shoot at and whether or not they actually hit. And Ludo Derrybridge, our communications officer, who basically talks. Well, he handles communications, so anybody wants to contact the ship, they go through him. And then there is, of course, also, as I said, the comment who's not listed here. Alright, so has anyone ever told you that you grin like a lottery winner whenever you shoot something down? I'm guessing she's talking to Haven. Satisfaction of a job well done, sir. Every single time, though? Have to find satisfaction in what you do, it's too hard to keep going otherwise. That kind of outlook would have been helpful going through basic. Basic training wasn't fun even the second time, but it was a means to an end. Wait, he went through basic training twice? That end being serving on an active ship. Serving as an active anything. I didn't pass my drop pig exam and flunked out of deployment. I was under the impression you had somehow gone straight through to the officer's school from basic. I had to after that. Dad was not happy. We had to trade on his name to get me back that bunk. I don't envy you for having gone through all that browbeating and chest thumping a second time. I couldn't have. Whatever it takes to do the job, sir. We all get to where we need to be. Eventually. Yeah, eventually. End of transmission. I did not know that they had various communication dialogues on the mission selection screen. So that's an interesting bit of backstory. Anyway, let's proceed with the mission. Alright, so this is the deployment screen. I have 5 ships that I can command. 3 of them at one point in time have been my flagship. And my current flagship is the Hammerhead destroyer, which I call the Peanut Bar, which is this large ship in the middle. There's also the frigate Pound Cake, which I really should stop clicking on these guys. And then the Biscuit class, and then the Nemo class corvette, which I call the Biscuit. Yes, I named practically all of my ships after baked goods, because I like baked goods. I also have 2 Swordfish class raiders, the Honey and the Jam. I have a third one, but I can only deploy so many ships, and I only have enough command points to deploy 5, so the Butter, my 6th ship, doesn't get to go and participate in any battles, at least not until I lose somebody. I can also call in reinforcements, but the cheapest ship I can call in is the Swordfish Raider, and it costs 110 reinforcement points and I only have 98 available. I'm not quite certain if they're actually increasing from mission to mission. Could have sworn I was like at 86 the time before that, well, last mission, but I could have sworn I was at like 90 again the mission before that. So currently I have 98, and so I'm basically like 12 points away from getting a new raider. But as I said, I only have so many command points, so I can't actually call in a new raider. I can also get a corvette, a frigate, or a light cruiser. But each and every one requires more and more reinforcement points, and I find it interesting that the frigate costs 320 reinforcement points, whereas the light cruiser, which I would assume is a more advanced, more powerful ship, even if it only has 1 laser on the front, costs actually less. Although it does have access to homing missiles, which the Corvette does as well. Anyway, basically I can call in more ships, but I don't have the reinforcement points to do so, so kind of a moot point. Let's just stick that one there. And the formation that I find works has basically the Peanut Bar in the middle with my Corvette and frigate off to the sides, and then the Swordfish above and below the destroyer. Alright, so let's proceed down there. Alright, so beyond the bowsprit. Alright, so Henrik, the shipyard commander, says, "Why are you breaking visual range on me, Valorant? I need you here to keep these squids off my station. Navsec has got us advancing on the Nautilid. Maybe we can squash this assault from the nest and buy you some time to regroup. I mean, we defended both sides of the shipyard. Word on the wire is another strike group is on its way to relieve us. You won't be left defenseless, Feliciter. The fact that they're not there yet is worrisome. We weren't defenseless to start with, Dairy Bridge. Valoran, stay safe out there. If this escalates any further, we're going to have a priority 0 on our hands, and I'll want every one of your ships back here. End transmission. Okay. So the current objective is to eliminate all enemies. Okay. So zoom functions, and currently those enemies. You would think I would remember the camera controls. Currently consists of what appears to be. Come on. 1, 2, 3. It's like 4, 5. Six, 7, 8 krill? No, 9 krill. It's a group of 3, a group of 2, and a group of 4. So currently 9 krill. Given the fact that the more recent missions generally have more krill or more nautilids than just 9 krill, which I can easily wipe out, I'm assuming that the enemy is going to get reinforcements sooner rather than later. Wrong button. But for now, let's take out these krill so that way, well, when reinforcements do show up, I don't have to worry about them. Alright, so this game is pretty much turn-based, and how it works is that every ship has a movement arc, which they can move per turn, and that's dependent upon their engine speed. So if I were to say increase engine speed, the arc would increase. But it would mean that there's less power and defensive capabilities for the shields, and the weapons aren't as powerful. And by contrast, it can pull power from the engines, but and that would increase either shields or weapons or both, but then the movement arc would decrease. And I can move the ship anywhere within this arching movement arc. Trapple's a little weird geometry shape thing. So for right now, let's actually just have the fleet just fly in, and the frigate, for all of its power and capabilities, is slow as, well, salt. That's not a term, but it's slow. So I'm going to jack power, basically max out power to the engines, just so that we can keep up with the rest of the fleet, and then move the swordfish around to keep them within standard formation with the destroyer, basically above and below the peanut bar. Alright, and when I've moved everything where I wanted to move, I hit show battle, and we see what happens. Right, and basically everything moves in and fights in a cinematic-esque turn, which is what that last piece you saw there, and then it goes back to the movement phase, where I just keep moving everything, and let's actually have the Corvette also increase its speed, so it can keep up with the destroyer. And apparently the destroyer is so fast, it's even leaving the swordfish behind, which you would think, given the fact that the swordfish are raiders and, well, scout ships and designed specifically for speed over firepower, that wouldn't happen. I mean, they can basically, practically, without any extra power to the weapons, essentially pull an entire 360. And by extra power to the weapons, I mean extra power to the engines. They can basically pull an entire 360 with their movement area. Also, one thing I forgot to mention is that every ship has a weapon arc. So the ships can only fire within said arc. So the Swordfish only has a forward arc. So the Honey and the Jam can only really shoot things in front of them. By contrast, the Biscuit has a forward arc and a aft arc, so it can only fire at things in front and behind it. And the different colors denote the different weapons. So on the forward guns, they are medium lasers, whereas in the aft arc, they're light lasers. Essentially, they do less damage. By contrast, the Pound Cake has medium lasers on the port and starboard side, and an ion cannon used for disabling shields and stunning Nautilids on the front. And the Peanut Bar, the most deadly of all of my ships, has heavy lasers to the port and starboard, and a laser beam cannon, the direct energy beam, to the front. Alright, so since we haven't really engaged in the Nautilids yet, let's try to do our best to stay in formation. Because here come the Nautilids, and reinforcements have shown up in the form of 4 disruptors, which... these aren't the ones that fire the missiles, are they? Close range temporary energy disruption. No, these aren't the ones that fire the missiles. These are the ones that if you get too close, they take out your shields. Or at least disable the shields so that way they don't work. Okay. So now I have 4 of those to deal with. But we're still technically not within weapons range yet, so let's continue on. And now we are within weapons range because the Nautilids have opened fire, and as have my vessels. Alright, so the Peanut Bar has a red silhouette because it's about to fly into something. And I don't think it can actually, it's probably going to fly into this Nautilid. But the Nautilid's so close, it probably can't avoid it. But let's do a hard turn anyway, which would probably put it in the path of the Corvette. So... Alright, Peanut Bar does hard turn this way. Get it away from the Corvette, and the frigate is farther out, so it shouldn't collide with it, but I'll have the frigate turn anyway, just so that way its primary guns can, well, get facing the Nautilid. Also, since, you know, battle has been joined, I'll pull power from the engines to the shields, and the reason why I wanted over 40% is once that happens, the shields start to regenerate. Very slowly, I might add, because it's only just over 41%, or 40%, I should say. But they'll start to regenerate, so... Alright, that's what I get for clicking the wrong thing. There we go. Have the Swordfish angle. And also increase their shield recharge capacity. Now, I think the Nautilid have started shooting at the destroyer because I haven't seen anybody else lose shields. And that does appear to be the case, so let's get the shield starting to recharge. And in addition to just natural shield recharging, I can also pull power from one shield facing or multiple shield facings to reinforce other shield facings. In case like one shield goes down and I need to
recover it quickly. So I just pull from other shields, and it offers some protection. Alright, so now we see what happens. Alright, so Ludo Dairy Bridges Wyatt says, why is Command pushing us out this far? We should be waiting for the other naval group back at the Delta Mark. I'm assuming that's the shipyard. We don't question Command's objectives, sir. That's what Haven says. I don't expect an ensign to value independent thought, but Val, surely you don't think we should be all the way out here? The front line suits me fine. I'm sure Command has their reasons. Said like a true dice. Who needs responsibility, right? Apparently the communication officer does not like us. To be fair, he used to work for the old commander of the strike group, and we may have gotten him killed. I don't think we actually killed him directly, but he probably blames us for the old boss's death. So anyway, it doesn't look like the peanut bar actually collided with anything, although several ships probably flew a bit quickly. So I'll have the peanut bar swing back this way, as well as the pound cake swing that way as well. Now the swordfish, if they keep going there at the same angles that they are, will actually fly into somebody. So that way they don't get too far ahead and separated from the group. I'll have them pull hard turns in this direction, just so that way, they stay with the krill, even though from the angles that they'll end up, the krill won't be within their weapons arcs. Also have the Corvette, the Corvette turn slightly as well, just to hopefully keep some of the krill in its forward arc. Also, I do have access to missiles. I only currently have 3 missiles available on the Corvette because missiles don't get resupplied between missions, only chapters, and I've burned through the other 17 missiles that it already has. And the frigate has countermeasures, which I only have 6 left, which is why I was worried that these ships were the kind to fire acid missiles, but it turns out they're not. So hopefully I shouldn't need countermeasures. So let's continue. I say that as not realizing that there is actually a Guardian here, which is the missile flinging variety. Yeah, organic homing missiles, because that's the trail of a homing missile, and it hit the raider. So the honey is now down its rear shield facing. So let's pull from everywhere else to get that back up. It didn't take any hull damage, at least not yet. So let's have it swing back around so that way it can start fighting. And it looks like at least some of the krill are dead. Have the frigate swing... Actually, no, I'll have the frigate keep going this way. But now that I know that there is a missile-throwing enemy, I'm going to launch a countermeasure and plop it right here. Hopefully help protect the swordfish from other assaults. Alright, so now that I get a closer look, it looks like there's actually 2 Guardian class vessels, as well as 4 disruptors. I don't know if they were there originally and I just didn't see them, or they just showed up. Probably a combination of the 2. Alright, so keep heading... You know what, I'll have the peanut barb essentially plow clean into the krill. I don't want to get them too close to disruptors because that's how they take out the shields. And I do want them to focus on the Guardians because those acid missiles are, I'm fairly certain, rather dangerous for, well, my vessels. Have the Corvette turn this way. Anybody else I'm missing? I don't think so. Yeah, we should be good. Now we see what happens. Alright, so that cloud thing that you saw is what disabled the shields, and I can't, as far as I know, adjust the energy right now. The output efficiency 92%. So the energy output for everything isn't as high as it could be. But I think the Guardian actually flew into somebody. And it looks like he also launched another missile. I think that's what that green contrail is supposed to denote. Fairly certain the countermeasure is still active, but let's fire off another one just in case. I mean, it's probably not going to stop this missile if the other one is already gone. On account of, it'll probably hit its target before the countermeasure gets in place to counter the measure. Let's have the peanut bar do a hard turn so that way it doesn't fly into anybody. The swordfish turn this way. Also increase power to the left shield for the jam. And then I'll have the Corvette turn this way, and well, I don't know if this is going to be the last mission in the campaign or not. I'm going to have something else to worry about, but let's fire off a missile. At this Guardian. So hopefully that hits them and not me, because I have had that. So now we see who dies. Alright, so it looks like that the missile hit the Corvette. And it's now down to, wow, it's actually down to 69% hull. That took out over almost half its hull, and practically all of its left shield facing. So let's actually pull from, well, everywhere just to get that back up. And I'm going to have the Corvette do a hard turn just so that way it's no longer directly in front of everybody. And it looks like that they essentially traded missiles. This bottom shield is also running low. Let's lock out these two shields and pull more from the bottom. As I just don't pull from the front and the left. Weird. Anyway. Yeah, that evens it slightly more out. And you know what? This thing's probably going to be a problem, so let's actually empty the magazine. Fire off my remaining two missiles at it. Let's have the peanut bar do a hard turn this way, just so that way it starts targeting the Guardians. And I'll have the pound cake turn this way. Let's actually start targeting the actual Guardians. Krill. Now it's really hard to see what exactly they're targeting. I think it's going to target a Guardian. Alright, now have the frigate and the destroyer start targeting the other Guardian. And I did not move the raiders. Alright, so Haven Jinx says we cleared marks out. Hang on. So Haven Jinx states we're clearing marks out here, but navsecs keep popping. We're clearing marks out here, but... Alright, so the messages keep coming in, but Haven Jinx basically states, we're clearing marks out here, but navsec keeps popping conflict beacons. We're taking hits everywhere. My vote is to regroup, and then Dairybridge states, my vote is to regroup back at the shipyards where there's more boats to replace ours. And then AK, the guy back at command giving us orders, says, Commander, queued hash request from NSG-5 flagship Luxembourg. And then Dairybridge states, allow it through, this is Commander Dice, NSG-7, who's this? That's Naval Strike Group. And then I'm guessing Mercy 3 is the commander of the Naval Strike Group 5. So Mercy 3, pilot of NSG-5 Triton Luxembourg. We've just filled in the gap you left at DM2. More importantly, Walkington has agreed to my recommendation transferring to NSG-7 immediately. This is no damn time to have the Vice Admiral's kid playing at Commander. Acting Commander, says Darrybridge. Surrounded by smartasses. We need a real pilot, Commander, and I'm going to serve aboard once you've completed your scouting run. And then she states, our character states, happy to have, Vice Valorant states, happy to have you take over controls of this tractor, Marcy. Oh, it's Marcy, not Mercy. Okay. And then she replies with, yes, sir, see you on your return. So apparently, I'm guessing I get a new crew member if and when we manage to survive this. Alright, so I'll have the peanut bar move this way, just because everything is going to be in its forward arc. Well, side arcs. The biscuit seems to be taking some more beatings, so I'm going to have it go up a plane and then do a long turn this way. I mean, this is what I call a long turn. Hard turns this way, but it's basically going to turn away from the fight, just so that way everybody isn't dogpiling on it. Then I'll have the swordfish swing back around to basically keep an eye on the krill. And have the pound cake turn this way, and the peanut bar try to keep this guardian in its side arc. That's a dead krill. Also, both missiles, the last of my missiles hit this guardian, so it's slightly injured at 128 health, whereas this guardian is at 131. So let's actually deploy another countermeasure right here to help protect the biscuit. There we go. Alright, so the disruptors keep disrupting things, and they may have actually flown into each other. But, I don't actually know. So, have just the biscuit keep going out. Boost its rear shield a little. Have the peanut bar turn inwards. Have the pound cake turn inwards. Have the swordfish swing back around. I mean, I'm more worried about taking out the Guardians first than the Disruptors, just simply because the Guardians are the ones with the missiles. And I'm not certain if the Disruptors actually have much in the way of offensive weaponry, because I think their job is mostly to, deactivate the shielding on my vessels. So they're more of a support unit, whereas the Guardians are more of an offensive unit. And I want to kill those guys first. And I know I'm not paying much attention to the krill. They're basically filler, for lack of a better term. I say that as the Disruptors start attacking. Now, even though they have one of the Guardians targeted, at least the Pound Cake and the Peanut Bar have one of the Guardians targeted, they start firing on Disruptors because they're closer. Alright, so let's have the Peanut Bar turn this way. The Pound Cake turn this way. The Biscuit do a longer exaggerated turn this way. Now the Swordfish actually chase after this Guardian right here. because I really want the Guardians dead, and if everybody else is going to be targeting the biscuit, the pound cake, and the peanut bar, the biscuit, the peanut bar, and the pound cake, I'm sorry, hopefully they'll ignore the honey and the jam, and they can just slip past the disruptors. Alright, so let's see how well this plan operates. Alright, so it fired off a missile, and several people, I'm guessing, have now hull damage, because that's what the alert means. Alright, so the swordfish is now down to 31, well, the honey is now down to 31% hull. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it reinforce its left shield, pull power from weapons to keep shields active, and gain power to the engines, and basically have it abort its attack run. The jam is still, however, at 100% health, so I'm just going to have it reinforce its forward shields. I probably should not have the honey fly essentially into, into the disruptors. Have it swing off this way. It would put it in line with this Guardian, but this Guardian's at under half health. So I'll have the peanut bar turn this way to hopefully keep it in its port arc. I'm also going to switch its target to this Guardian, so that way it focuses on that. And then I'll have the biscuit do a long turn this way. And then the pound cake, which seems to be in the middle of everybody, just basically keep going forward, and I'll have it deploy a countermeasure, because they still got missiles, off over here. Hopefully that'll protect the swordfish. Hopefully. Turn the jam slightly. Okay, so the pound cake is about to fly into this disruptor. In fact, I'm fairly certain it's like literally about to fly into the disruptor. So it's that's the jam. Hang on. Nope. Yeah, no matter what it does, it's going to collide with the disruptor. So all power to the shields and weapons, because it's not about to fly anywhere anytime soon. It's not for next turn. Then I'll have the peanut bar do a hard turn this way, because the Guardian managed to get out of its weapons arc. I'll have the honey keep going on its outbound trajectory, because at 31% it's essentially out of the fight. Have the jam swing back around this way, and I'll move the biscuit more inwards, so that way it can hopefully target this Guardian. In fact, it's the only one that I'm not ordering directly targeting to the Guardians. Yeah. Target that one specifically, if you would be so kind. On the plus side, I think there's only 2 krill left, and that one's stunned, so I don't think he's going to be doing anything. So it's just right now 2 krill, 2 Guardians, and the 3 disruptors. Alright, so it looks like, again, as I suspected, the frigate flew into this disruptor. But it looks like everybody started piling on the Guardian, so let's just keep at it. I'll have the peanut bar fly around this way, and somehow it ended up at 79% hull. Not quite certain how that happened. I was not paying attention. I do have a raider to get out of the fight, or otherwise I lose the honey. And I'd prefer not to lose a single ship. I have yet to, I should point out. But I'll have the jam swing back around this way because it looks like it's literally... I would say it looks like it's literally behind, right in front of the Guardian, but it's actually slightly higher, I think. The pound cake, because it flew into this disruptor, isn't actually going to go anywhere this turn. That's why I basically pulled power from its engines, even out its left shield, and hopefully it can keep firing at this Guardian, because this Guardian is almost dead, and I'd prefer to make it completely dead. And then move the Corvette slightly this way, boost power to its various shield facings, and let's continue on. Alright, so these Guardians are surprisingly fast. Now this also looks like it's actually out of the weapons range. On the plus side, the frigate can now move again, so let's actually give it power to its engines. Have it do a hard turn this way to see if it can't get the Guardians back into its weapons arcs. Move the peanut bar slightly in this way. The biscuit to track them. Come on. The jam to swing back around this way, and the honey, come on, is going to remain on its outbound journey, even though its shields are completely recharged. I don't think I can repair the vessel. There seems to be a way to do so. There is that option, but if it's a special ability of a friendly vessel, I don't have that friendly vessel yet, so... The honey is essentially out of the fight outside of taking pot shots from the edge. Alright, now we see what happens. The disruptors do the disrupting thing. Alright, that countermeasure did its thing and stopped the missile. This Guardian is now down to 13 health. Move the pound cake in this way. Alright, so now that the honey shields are fully recharged, I will keep it at the edge of the battle, but I'll turn the swordfish in this direction, see if it can't actually target this krill. Also give it more power to its weapons. Turn the peanut bar slightly this way, and it looks like it took quite a bit of damage to its forward shield. So let's start, let's even that back out. Have the jam swing this way to keep targeting the near-death Guardian. I think there's actually only one krill left now. Now this one right here. So now we see what happens. Alright, so on the plus side, both these disruptors are now dead, as is this Guardian. So that's one missile unit I don't need to worry about. And this krill is also dead now. So all I got left is just this disruptor and this Guardian. So everybody do hard turns. Oh, and this disruptor died because it flew into the peanut bar, who's now has 73% hull, and its top shield is now, well, its dorsal shield, I should say, is now out. So let's actually pull from everywhere except the rear shield, just to get it back up to something. So the peanut bar is not going anywhere. It's not this turn. Have the jam swing back around to basically try to hunt this Guardian. The honey
Swings back around this way because at 31% hull, I'm not having it charge directly in. And the biscuit drops down a plane and then keeps going forward, so that way it hopefully doesn't fly into the disruptor. Or, you know, the pound cake. It looks like the peanut bar was even able to actually get a laser hit in the disruptor. So I'll have it keep going this way, just so that way it can hopefully get something in one of its weapons arcs. The pound cake keeps flying straight and hopefully just broadsides the disruptor. I'll have the biscuit turn this way to hopefully get the last remaining guardian in its sights. And the jam, I think, is just going to fly in a straight line towards the guardian, which I'm fine with. And, well, the honey just keeps flying this way to keep it on the edge of the battle, so hopefully it doesn't become a target and doesn't receive any more damage. Alright, so this Guardian's taking quite a few hits. The Disruptor's, well, not as many hits. So I'll have the Pound Cake pull a hard turn, just to see if it can get... No, let's actually pull power from shields to the engines. I mean, its shields are largely at maximum, so I shouldn't need it to recharge. I'm just trying to get it so that way it turns faster, so that way it can get something in a weapons arc. Swing the peanut bar back around. Then have the biscuit and the jam fly straight at the guardian. Then I'll have the honey swing back towards the fight, but hopefully we'll stay out on the outer edges. Now we see what happens. Alright, so the Disruptor's taking a pot shot at the honey. So I'll have the honey veer off. That's actually a countermeasure that's still active. Interesting. Thought they were all gone by now. Anyway, I'm going to swing off this way. And then the jam and the biscuit will keep after the guardian. Have the peanut bar swing this way, and the pound cake do a hard turn. Just so that way it keeps stuff in its weapons arcs. I mean, they're near dead anyway, so hopefully this fight won't last too much longer. There goes the Disruptor. And the Guardian. Alright, so AK Hellstrom, that's the Comet, says, Commander, priority objective inbound. Return to Delta Mark II immediately. Hostiles have breached the defensive perimeter. What happened to NSG-5? Ludo, put Marcy through. We're holding out, Commander, but could certainly do with your help. We'll be there soon. So even though I defended both sides of the shipyard before heading out into God knows where to fight the Nautilids directly, I still have to. Well, the shipyard still ended up in with the breach security, and I gotta go back and save it. Alright, so this is the after-action report. The Peanut Bar, our destroyer, took out 5 vessels, the strongest being a Disruptor. We lost 65 shields and took 32 hull points of hull damage. The Pound Cake only killed one thing. It's not about what they kill, it's about what they fire at. And lost only 41% shields, but it killed only 1 crow. The Biscuit killed only one thing, but it claimed a Guardian and lost 53 of its shields and took 25% hull damage. Whereas the Honey killed 3 krill, lost 41 shields and took 24 points of hull damage. And then the Jam also killed a Guardian and 3 other things for a total of 4 kills this fight, and only lost 13 shields. So there's that. And War Scale was an aggressive at 5.9. thought it was a neutral war skill, but oh well. Took 19 turns to complete. And I didn't check the damage done. But the next mission is the Bounce, and here comes the flare from NavSec. A significant part of Nautilids have been rebuffed by NSG 5, but a secondary wave are re-engaging the Delta Mark while the strike group is out of position cleaning up the first engagement. We need to punch it back to the Delta Mark and relieve the missing patrol group before the shipyard takes any more structural damage. Marcy dismissed herself from duty aboard Luxembourg for the cleanup operation and is waiting to intercept us and board en route from a civilian shuttle. I'll hand it to her. The deer's got the nerves of a Raider Ranger. You won't catch me out there on anything less than a fully functional command-grade capital assault ship with hull armor thicker than my arm span. We'd better pick her up before she gets shot out of the water and clean up the rest of those squids. Pick up Marcy 3 and eliminate all Nautilid forces. Alright, so I'm guessing this navigator that says she's going to be joining my strike group hasn't actually arrived yet. Given the fact that it's not listed here, I'm not quite certain. Apparently I'm no longer friendly with Dairy Bridge. It's interesting. Oh well. I mean, Valorant's the commander. She can't be friends with all of her crew. But I would at least like it that they stay civil with each other. So that way they're not yelling at each other and focusing on the enemies. So that's the next mission, and war skill is actually down to defensive 14. As I said, that's the next mission, and so that's what I get to look forward to. However, I feel that the next mission is best saved until next time, and as such, I'm going to call it here. Everybody stay safe from the plague, and have a good day.